Hello and welcome here to Kendall Ice Arena for the University of Miami Hurricanes men's hockey team, where we are currently recognizing our seniors here in senior night here in Kendall. Our weekend series between the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida Southern Mocs will start shortly after the conclusion of the senior ceremony.
gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for the senior class of 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, our game will begin after a brief warm-up period. We'll begin at approximately 7:10, 7:15.
That'll do it for our Senior Day presentation here at Kendall Ice Arena for the University of Miami Hurricanes men's hockey team. More from Kendall Ice Arena and the University of Miami hockey when we return. The playoff push wraps up in the final weekend series of the regular season. It's senior night at Kendall Ice Arena, where we'll see familiar foes and new opportunities. A finals rematch from the CHS and AAU Nationals, the Miami Hurricanes, and the Florida Southern Moccasins. Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Lee. Alongside me, Connor Stein, the entire way through. And Connor, no matter how you chalk it up, high school, college, regardless of the sport, senior night is always a way to not only put a bow on the career that many of these seniors have had, but it's also a way for the guys below them to really show what can come up for the next generation.
Yeah, this is kind of a full circle moment here for the seniors as they played Florida Southern to win their College Hockey South Tournament Championship, and then also the National Championship for the AAU as well. So kind of faces familiar foes, and also this game has tremendous weight as we see the playoff implications for this matchup.
And as you mentioned, Connor, you mentioned those playoff implications for this Division II side. It's currently a three-team race. Right now, the CHS second division, it is split up into two halves of the division. And right now in the South Division of College Hockey South D2, Florida Atlantic, UCF, and University of Tampa already punching in their ticket, but there's a fourth spot left on the line. Lynn and Miami are currently tied for that final spot. UCF is a single point behind, Florida Southern 2 points behind. So essentially, all four of those teams between Lynn, Miami, UCF, and Florida Southern, they're all alive, and they can all definitely make impacts considering that this weekend can decide who goes to the ice den in a couple weeks from now.
Yeah, we'll not only be watching this game, but also the game in between UTampa and Lynn as well. UTampa already clinching their spot with 15 points. Lynn with an opportunity to clinch if they just win 2, and then Miami, they have the point differential tiebreaker, so that'll be the real differentiator. But if Lynn drops one, then Miami has a chance if they win 2. There's a whole lot of situations that they can go through, or both teams could lose completely, and all of a sudden UCF's in the mix.
Absolutely, and when you consider some of the matchups that are taking place, UCF, they have to go see University of South Florida. The Bulls have already clinched a playoff spot. We talked about UTampa. They're in the mix as well. And then you have Miami and Florida Southern, who are both fighting for the exact same spot. They're two very different teams from last year. Last year, these were the two to chase. And now this year, they're the two chasing. It almost has a very different feel to this game versus last year when they were the two heads of the race.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows the difference of level of hockey between the Division III level and the Division II level. Both of these teams made through transition last year, moving up from Division III to Division II. And they're kind of dealt with some growing pains. We saw that earlier in the year. They were dealing with a lot of issues with roster issues and things like that. Florida Southern also had the same thing. And a lot of these teams are young as well, so lots of things to look forward to in this game. They've really rebounded as well.
Absolutely, and final point of contention before we get to the national anthems is Florida Southern. They had the two-game series already versus University of Miami. Those were both Florida Southern wins. However, those were in Lakeland. The one time that the Mocs did come here to Kendall Ice Arena, that was last year, that was a 6-0 shutout in favor of the Canes. And Florida Southern has been one of those teams where when they're at home, when they're on the road, they're two very different teams, especially with Miami, who has had a very, very hot run as of late, winning 4 of the last 6, undefeated 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, I mean, that Embry-Riddle series was also great. They could have stole one with them. They were down 3-5 against Embry-Riddle, made a great third period comeback, ended up tying with Embry-Riddle. But one of those games that would definitely help their situation in the standings as well. But now they got to come into Kendall Ice Arena and beat a team that's beat them twice this year. But one very thing to note this year is the number one issue that Miami had in Lakeland was covering Colton Wyden, number 21 for the Mocs. Actually a dual sport athlete for the Mocs. He plays baseball for them as well. And Ryan, what was some of the things that he really did to kind of distance himself from the Canes?
I mean, especially with a guy like Colton Wyden, you mentioned a two-sport athlete, but he's also been one of the hottest guys of form before he took his hiatus into the baseball season. 9 of 13 games, he had a goal, so he was really able to make things work and do so at a consistent level. But at the end of the day, it's all a matter of who comes up on top and who is more desperate for that fourth and final playoff spot in the Southern Division of College Hockey South. We'll go through the national anthems. It's Florida Southern Mocs, the Miami Hurricanes, The season finale series starts after this. The final weekend series of the 2024-2025 College Hockey South season kicks off here at Kendall Ice Arena. The Florida Southern Mocs 4-10-2 on the season, 16 games deep. However, they've had a bit of a tough stretch as of late, losing their back-to-back series against FIU a couple weeks ago, increasing their winless streak to 3. Florida Southern, they're on the outside looking in. They need a lot of help if they want any chance of making their way back in the College Hockey South Regionals in Coral Springs at the Florida Panthers Ice Den. The Miami Hurricanes, however, they've had absolute opposite form, 8-11-2-1 in their 20 games played. However, they have been 4-4 at home. They've been able to really pick things up as of late, ever since the New Year's break. They really struggled going into the 2024 portion of the season, but since coming out of New Year's, 4 wins, a tie, and a loss in overtime, including an unbeaten stretch versus Embry-Riddle. Miami, they're in the white. They'll work from left to right. Well, we'll work from right to left. Florida Southern, they're in the red and blues, going from left to right as we start things off here at Kendall. A quick shot from deep. Hoffman has to smother up right out of the gate as Max Hoffman has to make his first save of the game. A stellar season Hoffman has had. 12 games started with a 5-7-0 record, .847 save percentage, and a 5.0 goals against average. He has been able to make the most of his opportunities since taking over the net this season, where he's really shown up for the junior from Pennsylvania as he watches the draw go to his left. Wall can't get the face-off away from Riker Ferry, so he'll push it upward for Jarrett Fensterstock. Unable to make anything go, Ethan Dubois plays it back for Rice. Michael Wall works his way in front, scores! Florida Southern make quick work, get the first goal of the game, 26 seconds in their 20 games played. However, they have been 4-4 at home. They've been able to really pick things up as of late, ever since the New Year's break.
How fast
they really
Florida
struggled
team can
going
really
into the 2024 portion of the season.
Michael Wall just showing how dominant of a player he is. He just adds to his assist margin of 19 of the year. He's the assist leader of this Florida Mock squad, and that's not where you want to be early if you're the Miami Hurricanes.
A quick goal right out of the gate. Will Marshall tries to make his way in. That tandem of Wall and Marshall, they've been so dominant the last couple of years. An AAU All-Star Michael Wall, a first-team All-American Will Marshall. However, they've made up pretty much the entirety of the offensive production for this Florida Southern side as they try to push back in again with Michael Wall, but gets cut off by Jusko. Feeds it off. Moore releases over the net of Simeon. Miami try to create some pressure of their own as Adam Berg comes onto the ice with Moore and Jusko. However, Marshall was all alone at center ice, and he tries to do just that. Carry it alone as Florida Southern makes a change. Marshall in front, across, and it's smothered by Hoffman after the slapper made by Hunter Rice.
Will Marshall can really fly. He flies into the zone find some help. And I mean, Florida Southern already with an array of opportunities here early.
Face-off won by the Mocs. That one is deep as Hoffman smothers up once again. And for Florida Southern, they've really have had struggles really sharing the wealth offensively. We saw that Michael Wall was a part of that last rush that gave Florida Southern their first goal, as another try from distance is again covered up by Hoffman. This time it's Brad Peterlin on the release, but Florida Southern and Miami, these are two squads who have really gone back and forth in the last couple of years with the CHS Regionals in Division III a year ago. Both of them made their respective promotions to D2. They played in the Division III AAU National Final against each other, where Miami had a commanding 10-0 win in the AAU Finals. However, Florida Southern trying to show they're the more desperate team in the playoff race as Grady Abbott can't weave through and Williams unable to continue the movement, but eventually it is slapped on by Tryon. McGuire leaves it behind for Mensimer, where it's taken away by Callahan. Bouncing puck for Abbott. It's Turlick instead, as Turlick tries to wrap around Tryon, one of the alternate captains on the defense, number 2, as he battles behind the net for Abbott and eventually gets it free. Evan Zadakis unable to control, so Callahan takes over while the Mocs are in the midst of a change. A bit of miscommunication there as Miami were ready to substitute as well, but able to slither through was Stone. Zadakis has to hold on, and 2.5 minutes in, aside from a couple of quick shooting catches between the Mocs and Max Hoffman, a lot of continuous movement so far in a 1-goal game from Florida Southern. Stone banks it for Zadakis as it's cut off by Wall. Tries to feed in front for Marshall through everyone and back towards the net of Vincent Simeon, the freshman goalkeeper from Park Ridge, Illinois. He feeds it up for Michael Wall. He tries to corral, and he does. Backhander in front, diving block. Hoffman dives out and keeps it out. It's sent down by Miami, and this should be enough for icing, and it will. But a couple of desperation saves there keeps this a 1-goal game from Hoffman and company.
I mean, these two are just ridiculous. They go back and forth in the defensive zone for the Hurricanes. They'll actually cause a defensive turnover for the Hurricanes, something they struggled a lot with at the beginning of the year, and they're taking a lot of commanding lead here as there's 16:46 left to go. Looks like they're going to get a Hurricane back on the ice because it was an icing for the Canes, so one of them have to stay on the ice. That's Max Mensimer.
One of the many seniors on this team, Mensimer, comes back onto the ice as the officials try to sort out officiating. And we're back and ready to go. It's won back by the Mocs. Distance try, took a touch into the corner. Mocs are back on it once more with Rice. He's pinned along the boards, and Miami try to get it free. Zadakis has Marshall draped all over him, and he recovers for Burkhart. Burkhart banks it around for Florida Southern. Rice for Wall, back for Rice in front, scores! Rice doubles down, fed by Wall. 2-0 for Rice as Florida Southern get both in quick succession on Hoffman.
This is just a ridiculous feed.
Burkhart.
You see the Mocs here cycling well in their zone. There's Rice at the low circle,
Florida
and then
Southern,
Wall
Rice for
once
Wall,
again cycling.
back for Rice in front, scores!
Quick one-timer at the top of the circle, and man, the Florida Southern Mocs making some noise. And this is the issue with Miami. They let these two get too hot too fast, and that's exactly what you have to limit if you're playing Florida Southern.
Across it goes. McGuire on the release. That one goes wide. May have taken a touch in front. An attempt to spring upward was Vecchione, but he was stripped by Elian Estulin. And McGuire has it back, just trying to settle things down after 2 goals in under 5 minutes for Miami. Estulin with Fensterstock and Ferry alongside. They go back and forth, Fensterstock and Estulin. Fensterstock works it back. Mensimer lets it go, and that's easily held on by Vincent Simeone. He makes his first big save of the game. The freshman from Park Ridge, Illinois, has really taken over the net ever since Jason Cribbs was the lone goaltender last year. Simeone came in right out of the gate and stole the net. 11 games played on 10 starts, 3-3-2-1 when he's in net, 852 save percentage and a 6.4 GAA for number 33 in red as Ferry tries to escape after the draw, and Fensterstock tries to wall off his man Tryon. No one able to get it free. Fensterstock along the point. Kashikani from distance. That goes off the side of the net. Continue to circle it around. Fensterstock too high for Ferry. It's kept in Miami possession as Michelini will rip that one in deep as Miami are desperate for substitutions. Estulin, offensive zone turnover, cuts to the net. Backhander, just high. As play will stop, whistle goes. And the stoppage was due to offensive zone turnover. Cuts to the net. Backhander, just high.
Elon Estulin
as play
comes right
will
in.
Stop,
He's been quiet to start the
goes.
game as Florida Southern has had some early fireworks with 2 goals, but that's the player I'm looking at, Elon Estulin. Miami needs to rely on him. He is their lead goal scorer with 14 goals on the year. He's got to get hot early if the Canes want to compete in this one.
The only one getting hot so far in this game, Hunter Rice, the freshman from Hicksville, New York in the Long Island region, getting both goals to start off the game. Michael Wall, this Florida Southern Mocs captain, with the assist on both tries. Braxton Volpe got an assist on that first goal as well. So for Michael Wall, he's really been a force to be reckoned with. You can see him, 93. The sophomore from Dardenne Prairie, Missouri, has really been dynamic in every sense of the word. Points across all 16 games played, 111 points between this year and last, as the try from distance, Hoffman again. 5.5 deep into the first period, and Rice to Wall twice. Volpe in the mix as well.
Something Miami's really got to rely on in this game is their depth. This is probably the biggest bench they've had the entire year, with some call-ups from other seniors from the Division III team.
Hoffman had to scramble after that puck fluttered in front of his face, but it's a chance to turn around for Riker Ferry and this Miami Hurricane side. Ferry sends that one towards Simeone. He has to kick it out, and Will Marshall will start things with Michael Wall. Wall from distance scores. 3 points in 6 minutes from Michael Wall. A pair of assists, now add a goal. 3-0 Florida Southern.
Michael Wall
Simeone.
just uses all that
He has to kick
6'5"
it out.
body to get out of the
And
zone here.
Will Marshall will
Gets a
start
good
things
pass
with Michael Wall.
there from a fellow Mock, and then
Wall
kind of
from
splits the
distance
D,
scores.
and then just beats
3 points in.
Hoffman right corner, and man, all of a sudden the Canes go down 3-0, and we're not even 6 minutes in the game here as Coach Tom takes the timeout. Tom Amello, excuse me.
Can't necessarily blame Tom Amello for calling the timeout there, going up against a very familiar opponent on the Florida Southern bench in Heel Richard, who has led this Florida Southern Mocs team into great places over the years with their recent success, as Wall gets the goal with assists from Volpe and Marshall. So now we've got Will Marshall getting onto the board, Braxton Volpe with a second assist, and in seasons past, we've heard Tom Amello really talk about the importance of shutting down 19 and 93 in this realm of play, but it seems like every other shift, Coach Richard is throwing 93 and 19 over the boards. It's almost like they're playing every other shift, that their team literally revolves around those two.
I mean, it's basically a one-line team. I just blatantly saying it. it just comes down to stopping their two top scorers, but it's so hard, and that's why they're both above 20 points in this league, and they've just got to find a way to shut them down. They weren't able to do it in the first two matchups, and something's got to change quick here, already down 3.
Wall and Marshall, the only 2 players on this Florida Southern team with over 20 points, 2 of the 4 with over 10 goals. So it really shows the dependence, for lack of a better term, in their alternate and captain, as Ferry gets a strip at center and could potentially spring on a 3-on-1. Cut off in the corner by Volpe. Fensterstock collects. Estulin, Fensterstock in front. Estulin couldn't get that one as he was getting hacked at by Hunter Rice. In front, the Estulin opportunity as that one just skims past everyone. Should be enough for icing, but they wave it off. Took a touch off of that little race between Sudeikis and Marshall, and it's at the offensive zone turnover for Florida Southern. They can't make anything go of it as Estulin watches that one go past him as Sudeikis will collect behind Hoffman's net.
This is when you got to take advantage right here. 93 and 19 are off the ice. You have your top line out there. You got to score here, honestly.
12:55 in the first period. Florida Southern with the early 3-0 lead. Ferry with the poke so he can sub off. Continuing movement is Matt Fromer. Callahan tussles into the corner with Dubois. Turlick wanted Mensimer. He was skating left. The shot went to his right as Hoffman has to slow things down.
So you take advantage of the moments when they're giving them, and that one just a boneheaded play.
Kyle McGuire with Abbott at center. A lot of dump and chase so far from Miami as the support comes in. It's Mensimer at the blue line. Can't poke it loose as it's free from Cabral. McGuire. It goes back to him as he lets that one fly as Miami dump and chase again. Abbott into the corner with Turlick in front. Took a touch, but not enough on net to get behind Simeon. Stone will circle it around. Abbott on the far side. Miami gets a sub on as he's pinned along the board by John Burkhart. Turlick. Sudeikis from distance. Saved by Simeon. Rebound! It's held on by Simeon. Helmet off and everything. Oh boy, how did that get stopped as Simeon lost the bucket in the process? A little bit of Jacques Plot action there, and 11 and a half minutes in, Miami still unable to capitalize.
Let's just take a look at this offensive chance for the Hurricanes.
Sudeikis from distance, saved by Simeon, rebound!
Causes mayhem right in front.
It's held on by Simeon.
Right
helmet off and everything.
And somehow, some way, Simeon keeps that one out. He leaned backwards into the crease, and it somehow stayed out.
Mox win the face-off, more on the chase. Sudeikis attempts to keep it in as it will be reversed by Arts. Arts looks for an outlet, tries to go wrap around, but it's Adam Berg in support on that back door. As Miami just look for breathing room, it skims beyond Tryon as he can't keep it in. Volpe. That Sudeikis deflection could have gone way worse than it actually did, but still the Miami possession deep in their own end. Attempt there by the Mox, kicked out by Hoffman. Volpe again. Stone trying to disrupt things, but it's Volpe back at the point, and that goes outside the blue line. Everyone, referees included, called that one outside the blue line. Only one in disagreement is Braxton Volpe.
And they took a little bit of a late shot there as well, and some of the fans here. A great turnout, by the way, for the Hurricanes tonight on senior night. Good to see. Easily probably the most attended game of the year so far, unfortunately, but Miami pleading their case, but they're not going to get one as Miami trying to take advantage here early.
Still a clean game so far as we approach the halfway point of the first period of play, where Michael Wall has 3 points, a goal and 2 assists, with a pair of goals from the freshman Hunter Rice. Estulin, turnover, slapper. Rice can't get the hat trick after a diving defender in front. Now Estulin starts the reverse. Estulin shoots off of Simeon. Collects the rebound as Estulin circles it around Riker Ferry. Ferry is escaping Burkhart. Continues to escape, sends that one towards the outside of the post. Florida Southern try to get it out as Mensimer sends that one towards net, and they almost score. That almost went off and in from Matt Fromer in front. Simeon has to be breathing a sigh of relief as Florida Southern, Will Marshall, carries it out.
Top line on top line as there's a tripped error by Will Marshall.
He caught McGuire from behind. 10-20 into the first. We have finally our first penalty of the game. Miami will be a man up.
The unfortunate thing there, though, I think they're going to keep the first line out there, but they're looking a little bit gassed as that was first line on first line of just tons of opportunities right on Simeon, and now Miami, with an opportunity of their own, still need to climb up from this 3-goal deficit.
One thing you can say, which has helped Miami out so far, was they're creating chaos in front of the net, and those opportunities are there. They just haven't gotten across the goal line yet.
Yeah, every game they've done that. They're right in front of the net. It always helps.
Hoffman for Zedeckis. First quarter of a minute burned off on the power play as Peterlin pressures. Alina Sulin. It's stripped by Michael Wall. Tries to go for a shorthanded opportunity. In front, that one took a deflection off of Stone as he swats it towards Evan Zedeckis. A bouncer can't hit Ferry. Tryon tries to let it free as Wall sent it down. So not only is it the 2 minutes for the cross-check for Will Marshall, he gets the 10 as well. So this will be an opportunity for Miami to not just have the next 65 seconds of power play time, but also the next 9.5 minutes without Florida Southern's top offensive producer.
That is absolutely huge. Humongous mistake there by Marshall. But can the Canes capitalize here?
Zedeckis up top. He's got Stone. Cuts in, takes a shot off of Simeon. Rebound is held on by Estulin. Estulin, Stone! Simeon again. Ferry and Estulin both behind the net looking for feeds. They go for each other. Ferry wants Fensterstock in tight, and the bank shot goes out. With under half a minute to go in the power play, 8 in the first. Gavin Tryon, the 5th year from just outside the Houston area, can't keep it in as Michelini off of the bench in support. Estulin behind the net. Ferry in front. Can't get it past the diving blocker. That's Gavin Tryon once more. Michelini fights into the corner. No one able to get it free, so it sputters towards Remy Kagan. Kagan on the fire as that one went off of the stick of Ferry and over the mesh.
Miami had what they wanted here.
Michelini
on the power
fights
play.
into the corner, no one able to get it free, so it sputters towards Remy Kagan.
Taking a good shot,
Kagan on the fire as
and put up on
that
the netting,
one went off of the stick of
Miami
Ferry
just
and
needed a little
over
bit
the
of
mesh.
puck luck. They've had some go off the post. They've had someone go off the post, ricochet off a couple of defenders. They just got to get one that goes all the way through, and I promise you that'll happen at least once with these opportunities I've been seeing.
Wall on the draw, continuing the cycle. Fromer. Burkhart pestered by some white. Michelini evades the man, but not the second, as it's stripped away by Fromer. As Abbott lays down Fromer. Back to even strength we go. However, Marshall still in the box for another 8 after a 10-minute misconduct for the cross-check. Burkhart eventually gets it out as McGuire was coming on for a substitution. Mensimer for Callahan. Looks for an escape route. Mensimer's got Turlick alongside as he goes on the sharp angle. Scramble in front. No one can collect other than Michael Wall. Wall using those long strides to come in high and wide. Back towards Hunter Ice. A thing from these Florida Southern Mocs they don't see from a lot of these College Hockey South teams is they have a pretty healthy mix of some experience in the juniors with some of the programs in the USPHL and the NAHL as well, as Simeon got that first save out. However, Miami couldn't get the second shot in as Jonathan Nas was unable to hold on as it makes its way back for Evans Adakis. McGuire. Miami trying to make sure they don't have an improper substitution before that got shot down, and this one is coming all the way back for icing.
To go back to your further point about the seniority of the Florida Southern Mocs, it definitely helps that they only have one Division II team compared to Miami's Division II and Division III teams, so kind of a wide array when you have one team. We see that with Florida State at the Division III level, and now with Florida Southern College at the Division II level.
Volpe, that one went off of Turlick in front. Nas eventually gets it free as Turlick will make sure, for sure, that it's across. Vecchione with Sadekis on him. Miami with some fresh lungs out. Sam Stone. Brandon Stein has Turlick along that far side. Gupta with him. Brandon Stein has to halt because Gupta was offside, and that's how things will go with 5.5 down by 3 are Miami.
I wouldn't press the panic button yet, Miami Hurricanes fans. They were down 2 goals in their last game. They were down 5-3 against Embry-Riddle, and they were able to come back and at least tie it. So this team's definitely got the grit, and there's plenty of time left to go. 45 minutes left in the entire game. So Miami, I'd love to see one just get scored here in the last 5:30, especially with Will Marshall being out as well.
Williams lets that one go, so it's Arton Peterlin. Peterlin kicked away by Hoffman as Berg sits his man down, allows Brandon Moore to start something. Moore dropped off, Berg. That shot was off target, so Zadakis gives it a second try. Off a body in front, backhander for Jusko, goes stick on stick. Still alive for Miami, Moore. Moore from range scores! Brandon Moore gets one back. 5 minutes left in the first. It's 3-1.
I told you, all they needed was a little bit of puck luck there. A little bit of deflection through a couple bodies. Let's take a look at this replay.
It was off target, so Zadakis gives it a second try.
Miami
off a body
doing
in front.
exactly what they've been doing the whole game.
Goes stick on stick.
There by
Still
Jusko.
alive for Miami.
And then
Moore.
from the point,
Moore
Brendan
from range
Moore takes a
scores!
shot. It goes through a couple bodies. And finally, Miami able to go on the board. Still 5 minutes left to go in the first period. And can Miami also feed off a little bit of this crowd energy?
That's goals in back-to-back games for Brandon Moore, and he's really found his offensive production since coming back from the leg injury that took him out for the entire month of October. He's been back in form since returning to the lineup, especially since the New Year's break. Gets one back for Miami, and the deficit now goes to 2. And for a game that rather seemed bleak for the first 15 minutes, has new life to it. Cole Dubois makes his way back for the other number 8, Kyle McGuire. Wall in front, Hoffman able to read it through as that one's tipped in front. Dubois gets it up and over. Still stuck behind the net once Dubois. The wind-up, the slapper, deflected, and Festerstock, he might be loose. 2-on-1, Estelin, backhand stopped by Simeon. And the freshman, all composure against Miami's top scorer, keeps this game at 2.
Let's take a look at this replay.
Still stuck
Miami
behind the
has
net once
taken
Dubois.
advantage of these
the
opportunities.
wind-up, the slapper,
all
deflected,
year long,
and
but my
Festerstock, he
goodness,
might be
what a
loose.
great save
2-on-1,
here by
Estelin.
Simeon. Festerstock
Backhand
was able
stop
to
by
get out of the blue
Simeon.
line and feed Elon Estulin wide open. All he had to do was bury it on the backhand, but Simeon standing on his head.
Estulin works the wing, tries to cut it in front, off of the deflection. Kashikani can't get it, eventually gives it a go. Off of some red jerseys, and it makes its way. Miles Hartung, the lone man back. Hartung around, comes to the other side. TJ Tillman lets that one go wide as Peterlin works it in. Burkhart. Hoffman kicks it out. A scrap into the corner, no one able to get it. Sharp angle across the mouth of goal. Volpe up top, he's got Burkhart alongside. Burkhart lets it go, and it's swallowed by Hoffman.
Florida Southern
Scrap into the corner, no one able to get it.
Outside of 93.
Sharp angle across the mouth of goal. Volpe up top, he's got Burkhart alongside. Burkhart lets it go, and it's swallowed by Hoffman.
In the first series against the Canes, he's one of those sneaky players that I'd watch out for on the Mocs. They can really make some noise from the defensive standpoint.
With 3.5 minutes to go, Max Hoffman gets to watch this one to his right as Wall tries to just weave past Jake Turlick, and he does as Wall tries to cycle it around. Burkhart.
Got to clear this puck.
Grady Abbin, he does, but it's into the mesh, so this will be back in the Miami end of things. Abbin, one of those seniors that we recognized just before the start of the game on the senior night weekends, where Florida Southern Miami, this is game one of the 2-game back-to-back, and they've had some fights, these two. They've had a game last season that ended 6-5. The 2 games that transpired earlier this year, those had a combined 20 goals between the 2 games. Both of them coming up as mock wins. As that one is fed up in front, Michelini stuck in his skates, pushes it into the corner. It's Rice. Tries to go for Volpe, and now it's a chance for Matt Callahan. Callahan chipped up from behind, and that is not going to be a penalty.
Looks like Callahan just lost his edge there as he tried to go for the one-on-one opportunity.
Rice drops off. Williams can't corral as the Mocs make a change. As Callahan again. Callahan in tight as that popped up, but not over Simeon as he was able to get the glove up.
Go for that Callahan one-on-one opportunity.
And Rice with 2 back-to-back opportunities for Callahan. As the Mocs make a change, as Callahan again. Callahan in tight as that popped up,
they were
but
all
not
going
over
for a change
Simeon
at once, and all of a sudden
they
forgot about Callahan, and he had another opportunity. Finally got it on net this time. Didn't lose his edge, but still 3-1 your score.
Excellent weekend from Matt Callahan at Embry-Riddle. 3 goals and 5 points across the 2 games. And a lot of that has come ever since the turn of November, where he really started turning things on after going cold in the September and October portion of the season, as Zidakis pitches it out for Stone. Arts with pressure up top. It's Stone. Slides across. Stone wants to do it himself, but can't quite do so. He had 4 red jerseys all over him, as that one is poked along to the side of the net. It's Stone again. In front, Jusko. Saved by Simeon, and it's cleared by the Mocs. Just under 2 minutes to go in the opening period. Evan Zidakis back once more. Gets past his man. That was Vecchione, as Zidakis hangs on again. Zidakis wants to pitch it in front. Deflection. Scramble. Rebound. Moore can't get it through. Messemer gives it a go as that flies back to the point. Zidakis. Another net front scramble. Another golden opportunity, but Simeon stays strong. Evan Zidakis has 1.5 minutes to work with as he pokes it up for Adam Berg. Florida Southern take the substitutions as Jusko will pivot. Miami will do some as well as Jusko continues to work in the final minute of play. Jusko weaves through, sends that one deep as he's ready for a changeup. Mensimer takes a run at his man. Ferry with the collection to bring things loose. Mensimer couldn't get the touch as it's a chance for Peterlin to go in deep, and we have a delayed whistle. And Tryon and Mensimer are in each other's face. Referees have to separate. Tryon and Mensimer were scrapping in front of the net. Fromer trying to get in the mix as well. It's all a matter of what the verdict is. The net front scramble was a result of a loose net in front. We saw Fromer and Tryon getting scrappy with Mensimer, as Matt Fromer will make his way into the box with that excessive contact after the fact. But as of now, there's 5 for Florida Southern. Now they've got 4. And this will be the second power play of the game for Miami.
Let's see if the official gives us an official call. I don't know if he will, but that's a huge thing here. You know, in this league, especially in this Division II level, temperatures can get high, and teams have seen to take disadvantage and also advantage of those situations. Miami with a perfect opportunity to take an advantage here, as it looks like Fromer's going to head out, actually, back onto the bench. Let me see if I can pan that over.
So Fromer is out of the box, will go back into the bench. Florida Southern have put their 5th man back on the ice, so they actually rescind the penalty. We're back to even strength.
Referee still conferring here, as there's 50.4 seconds left in this first period. Still trying to figure out what the issue is, but seems like it's going to be 5-on-5 hockey, but an offensive zone draw for the Hurricanes.
You keep bringing up maximizing opportunities, Connor. This could be it, as Mensimer and Estulin go back and forth. Fensterstock across, Stone lets it go! High and wide, but Mensimer keeps it alive with 39 to go. A hit from behind on Fensterstock. It was Wall, and that will be a stoppage in play, and this penalty might actually stick because Wall took a run at Fensterstock on the wall.
Let's see if we can see that
39
in our
to go.
here. You see
a hit from
in
behind
the
on
corner.
Fensterstock. It was Wall.
No, I guess not.
And that
But
will be
Wall took
a stoppage
big
in
hit
play.
on
And
Fensterstock in
this
the
penalty
corner.
might actually stick because Wall took a run at Fensterstock. So this time the penalty will stick. Wall is into the box for that hit from behind on Fensterstock. And with 31 seconds to go, Miami will work on the power play. Can they convert before the intermission, or will we carry into the second? Pass, cut off, in front, Rice will hold and get it clear. Stone tries to evade Peterlin in the final quarter minute, and the final rush opportunity for Miami with 10 seconds left. Elian Estulin sprints upward, tries to slip and slide, gets past one, can't get the release, no one will get it clean. Final shot, Stone, he missed the net, and we end this game 3 for Florida Southern, 1 for Miami.
Miami found themselves a little bit there at the end of the period. They had started all mocks, but Miami with a little bit of momentum. But, man, you really hate to see that you go down by 3 goals early, especially within the first 6 minutes and 30 seconds. But Miami really relying on their depth here, and that's what I want to see. Rely on the depth and also kind of feel the energy of this crowd to kind of excite this crew, especially on this senior night.
The playoff race is tightening. Lynn and UCF will both play their opponents later on in the night. Lynn will start off their game at 8, UCF and USF at 9. Them and Miami are all fighting for the final playoff spot at the College Hockey South Regionals, taking place just down the turnpike in Coral Springs. 3-1 after 1:26 of power play time when we return. And we want to give a couple of quick thank yous to some of our partners, including Wells Fargo Advisors. For your financial needs, go to Wells Fargo Advisors. And continue to support your Miami Hurricanes all the way through, whether it be on Venmo with some monetary support, or even just do a simple like, subscribe, and comment on any of our social media pages, including here on YouTube. Every bit helps. Thank you so much, as there's 1 minute and 26 of carryover power play time as the Florida Southern Mocs have a 3-1 lead.
joined by his friends. He's a finance major. He's from Western Massachusetts. Number 10, Brady. The next senior has spent his entire four-year collegiate career with the Hurricanes. He is a true goal scorer with 8 tackles this season. But in the words of Coach Strong, he has finally found out that there is, in fact, a edge in the game of hockey. He's a quiet leader and he's a great teammate. He's joined tonight by his mother, Dale, father, David, and sister, Skylar, from Illinois, New York. Number 13, Jared. The next senior has been a 3-year member of the program. He always finds himself near the top of the scoring sheet. Currently second on the team in goals and points with 12 and 19 respectively. In the words of Coach Song, he is well respected by everyone on the ice, except maybe the officials that he treats very good. Joined by his mother Nancy, father Tom, sisters Natalie and Olivia. He's a finance from Massachusetts, number 59, Frank. The next senior has been a member of the Hurricanes for all 4 years of his collegiate career. While he's a natural defenseman, he has played any position asked of him. He plays top minutes as often as he on special teams. He is a quiet leader, although I agree he is not very fond of sharing his presence on the road trips. Joined by his mother Amy and father David, a finance major from Quincy, Massachusetts. Coach saw right away that we had a problem. In the early days of the team, we spent a little bit more time hanging out on maybe that's where they got the nickname Max. But the hard work is becoming more disciplined defensive, and he is the top defenseman on the team. Named team captain just minutes after winning the national title last season. He is a leader on and off the ice. He's joined by his father Jay, brother Zach, and a county neighbor from Glenwood, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for the senior class of 2025.
We return here to Kendall Ice Arena in Kendall, Florida, where the Florida Southern Mocs currently hold a 3-1 lead on the Miami Hurricanes. Miami were able to get one late into the period with just a little bit over 5 minutes to go in the first to get one back. However, Florida Southern were able to get 3 quick ones in only the span of about 6 minutes to open things up. And ever since around the 14-minute mark of the first period, Miami have been playing keep up. But the good thing about Miami's attempt to play catch up is that they have a minute 26 of carryover power play time on Michael Wall from the first period of play. Ryan Lee, Connor Stein with you the whole way through. And Connor, despite the score line, you could definitely see almost a flip of 2 portions of the game. There was that first 6 minutes and then the 14 minutes afterward. It was definitely 2 very different games in that first period.
No, Miami definitely flipped the switch there within 10 minutes of that first period, I would say. But it definitely helped that Will Marshall got a 2 and a 10 in the middle part of that first period. Him being out of the game completely electrified the Miami team, and I felt like they were a lot more physical, a lot smarter with the puck, and they just need a little bit more lucky bounces to go their way, and this could easily be a tied game, especially with Wall being in the box. So that's, Florida Southern's 2 top point scorers, I would say, being in the box. So can Miami capitalize? A little bit messed up as Stone couldn't get a firm grasp on the puck, so it resulted in it going out of play.
Michael Wall for boarding was the call. 65 remains on the power play. Zadakis holds on. Estulin. Final minutes of the power play. First 30 seconds of the second. Estulin up top! And that's Simeone who will smother.
Good rotation there from the Canes. They were cycling well as there was a little give and go there from Stone.
First 30 seconds of the
he
second.
was able to get down low and then a great feed to
and that's
Estulin,
Simeone who will smother.
But an even better save there by Simeone.
Estulin had multiple opportunities, all of them denied by Simeone, many of them off of the rush. And the goalkeeper for Florida Southern continues to get it done for the Mocs as Fensterstock gets out of the faceoff dot with possession. Stone. He's got Zedeikis alongside on the blue line. Stone holds on, lets it go. Estulin back for Zedeikis. Glances off the side of the net. Estulin once again with a half a minute remaining in the power play. Estulin off the poke from Zedeikis. Distance try, punched by Simeon. Glove down by Ferry. Looks for space as he's got Burkhart all over, and it comes back towards center with Stone. 18 seconds remain in the power play for Miami. We're only through a minute and a quarter of the period, with Ferry pinning his man against the wall, allowing Estulin to go free. Zedeikis from distance, that's off of a body. Fensterstock with a recovery. In front, wanted Ferry.
Be careful, Wall's coming out of the box.
And he does, but Stone was able to cut it off before it goes further, and now potential rush. Fensterstock off of a stick and wide. Ferry slaps it towards net, holds on as it was blocked. Burkhart in front. Sent all the way up and down. Peterlin is first. Hoffman had to be quick as that took an awkward bounce. Michael Wall works the wall as he wants to send it across. Can't connect with Rice. Burkhart with a shot. Is that one missed the net? Arts lets it go for Fromer. Burkhart again. He lets it fly. Too high. Bounce off of the stanchion. A couple of them actually, as Wall goes from angle. It took a touch in front, as that will be held on by Hoffman, and a little bit of inadvertent contact as well, as Fensterstock was falling off of the fresh ice, crashed into official. But maybe the bigger headline here is Will Marshall is done with the 10 minutes he served for the unsportsmanlike conduct after the whistle, and now 93-19 reunited, and I'm sure for them it'll feel so good.
You see Jared Festerstock getting a little bit of talking to here from the official. It was a little bit behind the play, but he collided with an official behind the play. He almost pointed like he wanted him for a penalty. It almost looked like, I don't know what they're going to do, but it's not a penalty. But I was a little scared when I saw the little wave. He did like that official wave that you usually see commonly done when there's a penalty call, but just looks like a talking to was done, as the Mocs will have an offensive draw. A little bit more of a delay, though, as they talk to the coaches.
Coach Guillaume Richard trying to get his side sorted out. Michael Wall ready for the draw. Marshall alongside. That's exactly where it goes. Fromer keeps it in play. Fromer and Moore are tangled. They try to get loose, but Miami continue to possess. Max Mensimer starts upward as Moore eventually gets loose. Mensimer across. Moore in tight. Simeon with a save. Still loose on the side of the net. Moore on the recovery. Wide angle outside of the frame.
I don't know how these pucks stay out, but Simeon is always backwards, and somehow he's always able to save the puck.
3 minutes into the second period of play as Jusko keeps it in for Miami. Berg tries to possess, but it comes back to center. Mensimer slaps it in deep. Only one back. Will Marshall. More on the forecheck with Jusko, as Marshall has not been in this game very much. Had to serve that 10-minute misconduct for unsportsmanlike conduct after a cross-checking penalty already took him in the box for 2, as Burkhart has Turlick draped all over him. Marshall again. Marshall has points in 15 of the 16 games that Florida Southern has played, from the Odessa Jackalopes to the USHL. Tries to start the outlet pass, but it's Turlick. Marshall playing as the lone man back a little bit more on the defensive side of things, as Arts comes off of the bench, as Kagan will prevent Wall from holding on. Michelini got railed by Wall, but continues possession as that attempt goes wide. It was Marshall on the release. Burkhart goes again. Arts behind the net. Wall. Callahan and Michelini support one another. Wall holds on as Abbin breaks it up, but Wall continues to wreck things into the offensive end. Callahan twisted, no call, and eventually it is.
A little bit of a hook. Miami's got to be careful, though. You got to take advantage of these man advantages. Do not need to have chatter after the play. I know it's easy. Your guy gets tangled up, and all of a sudden you want to go and talk to him. But these officials, I can tell, are going to be very short-tempered on the fact that Miami is going to be talking to them. So got to be careful. But nevertheless, Miami will head on the man advantage.
And I can't necessarily blame Miami for wanting to retaliate in a sense, because Wall, he likes to abuse the opposition because of his frame, being able to utilize
such a big guy,
speed and power. 6'5", 225. He's really able to have that perfect combination of speed, size, hands. He's just a force to be reckoned with. You can most certainly make the argument he deserves to, not anything against CHS or the AAU, but he can easily make production in the NCAA. As Sam Stone will hold it back, it is Wayne Arts for hooking. The junior Dutch forward will be sitting as Ferry brings it in for Sam Stone around the other end. Stone tries to loop around, and he still hangs on. Florida Southern attempt to get it free as Volpe's pinned back, and the support from Rice gets it out. Astulin disrupted. Rice across attempted, but Astulin with the stick breaks it up. Astulin steps on the gas, a potential 3-on-2. Astulin on the power play, cuts across. He wanted Ferry as they can't link up, but Astulin's back again. Astulin, fencer stock, Corral scores! Jared Fensterstock on the power play on senior day. 3-2, Florida State lead. Florida Southern leads.
Fensterstock with his 9th of the year. Absolute beauty of a feed here. We'll check it out on the replay.
Across. He wanted Ferry.
Miami, great job by Ferry to poke it away.
Astulin
was able to find
Corral scores!
Fensterstock. And all of a sudden, the Canes cut it within 1. Just a great shot. Even better pass there from Elon Astulin. And the Canes able to make an impact here early in the second period.
Power play goal for Fensterstock from Astulin. Wall wants to retaliate, and Rice has a hat trick. End to end we go. After Miami gets one, Florida Southern have answered right back. It's 4-2 Florida Southern, and Declan and Hunter Rice has a hat trick.
Man, you go from going on such a high to all of a sudden going on a low with this goal here.
Goal for
as you see Wall comes in with a ton of speed and then drops it off
Wall
to Rice.
Wants retaliate, and Rice
with
has
another
a hat
one-timer, basically exactly similar to his goal earlier in the first period.
Mensimer can't get it. He's held on, but Callahan flubbed on the release. Abbin up back for McGuire. Abbin into the corner. Marshall swings it for Wall. And Wall's got a trio of assists after that Rice feed. And the one man in the corner is Rice. Wants to send it in front off of Hoffman. Volpe. He's got Cabral as he tries to let that one rip, but Michelini on their end. That attempt on the deflection from the boards was a little too high, and that flies right into the Florida Southern bench. So Fensterstock from Astulin on the power play made that a 3-2 game. And then Hunter Rice from Michael Wall. That's Wall's third assist, Rice's third goal, and we're at 4-2 with just under 14 in the second. Fromer makes its way back at center with Kagan. Wanted more icing against Miami.
This just shows how quick Florida Southern is Miami thinking they cut it within one, and then all of a sudden they go right back to where they were after the lack of containing Wall and Rice. Rice, you mentioned the hat trick. He's not even one of their players that you really look at and you're like, man, he's really making a difference. But now, this game, Miami's not really been able to shut him down.
Hunter Rice had 2 goals going into today. He has a hat trick already, and we're not even halfway through regulation. That one hit the ceiling. That is most certainly going to be held up with 13-13.
The low ceilings here.
But for Florida Southern, they've had struggles with these 2-goal games. They've had many of them, and they have not come out on the winning end of many of them. Only about a third of the games that have been decided by 2+ for the Mocs have gone their way in terms of the wins. And the 4 wins are the second fewest of the second division of CHS. That's tied with Georgia Institute Technology and Alabama Huntsville. As a quick scrap behind the net, no one able to get it free, goes off of some skates, and now it's a chance for Peterlin, but he has to halt on a pivot. Arts with a strip, with a try, and a swallow from Hoffman.
Arts making some offensive noise here for the Mocs. Still 4-2 your score. Miami just got to start chipping back in. They've definitely gained a lot of momentum since their disastrous, I would say, first start of the 6 minutes, but they're really just paying for their sins, I would say, since their first period.
Volpe attempts to keep it in deep. He's got Marshall. Snaps that one towards Hoffman again. And Hoffman has had to be tight in this game so far. 500 in the 16 games he started. Split down the middle, 8-8. When 2-9 has been in net for the U. Stone flutters it, wanted Sadakis, only Wall in front. Rice couldn't hit the 4. But Stone will punch it out with Volpe slapping it down. And it's a chance for Florida Southern. Rice wants Wall in front. Hoffman stays strong. Wall tried to feed it around with Stone, Sadakis. They're not on the same page whatsoever, but it's Wall again across. Rice with a hesitation. Hunter Rice pinned down by Stone, and Miami still unable to clear as it's left behind for Volpe. Gupta all over Volpe. He's got Rice. He's got 3 goals, couldn't get the 4th again. And that's a high stick on the deflection, and it's cleared out by Nas. But this should be enough for icing.
Waved it off.
Quite surprising, frankly, but Marshall had to think fast as Jonathan Nas was coming in quick. Both sides getting fresh legs up. Burkhardt, he's fresh, he sprints in. But Stone is back to retrieve. And he's got numbers forward if he can escape. Hawaiian Estulin. Riker Ferry gets hit, trying to cut across. And it's a chance to spring upward, but getting back were the Canes just in time. Max Mensimer. Estulin with some space, lost control. Burkhardt, Estulin, and Ferry all work the wall. Just under 13 minutes remain in the second period of play, where Miami need to make up a 2-goal gap. Wants to go deep, Fensterstock. He'll be the first one there, so no icing against Miami. Estulin, Fensterstock together behind Simeon. In front, Ferry with a poke and they score! Senior for senior. Fensterstock and Ferry get 2 in the second period. 4-3, Miami's only behind 1.
This game has really been a battle of the first lines as we see one of those games, one of those moments in the game where it just kind of helps to cause mayhem in the back end of your zone.
Ferry with a poke and they score!
Ferry able to find the feed there from Stone, and the Canes able to cut it within 1.
That one from distance. Hoffman has to be sharp again as Grady Abbin looks to pivot. Tryon. Callahan cuts it off at center. Disruption, so Abbin's able to get in, and Abbin is in. Abbin, can he have a chance to tie? Cuts in front. No one able to get it through as it's back towards center. So considering how this game started off with a 3-goal lead for Florida Southern, and since then, Miami have come in quick with 3 goals of their own, and Florida Southern getting that 1 hat trick for Rice. Miami's really flipped the switch coming out of the room.
Miami's not one of those teams that bends over and quits easily, especially with Tom Amello at the helm. They've really just shown great resilience, and also definitely helps that it's senior night here as well with some crowd energy. But Miami, they're definitely hurting themselves a little bit though with that 1 goal that they let just after they scored their 3rd. But now they got to cut it within to make it a tie.
Callahan with a touch to prevent icing. Tryon has Turlick all over as Callahan's in front and couldn't get the shot through. No one able to get it free, but Will Marshall slips past one, not another. Attempt has missed the net. Continuing the cycle, Wall, swing and a miss, back to center. Rice is just out of range.
Great stick there by Callahan to get that out of the zone.
And another great stick there from Turlick. He'll step on the gas. Turlick, poke check from behind as Volpe came in for support. Callahan still alive in the offensive end. 11:20 in the second. And a chance for Wall. He's alone in the offensive end. Wall and Hoffman. And a beautiful save by Max Hoffman, and he'll cover.
Nightmare scenario there for the Canes as it was pickpocketed
11:20
as they came to the blue line.
And a chance for
It
Wall.
was a stretch
He's
feed
alone
there
the
for Michael
end.
Wall.
And Hoffman.
And a tremendous
and
save
a beautiful
there
save by Max Hoffman, and he'll cover.
by Hoffman to keep this one only a 1-goal lead for the Mocs.
At 7:15, it's Ferry from Estulin. So that's Estulin's 2nd assist of the game. Ferry's 1st goal as Florida Southern want to work behind the net. No one able to collect the feed. Stone tries to slither. He's got Brandon Moore. No icing as it took a touch. Moore, as we approach the halfway point of the game. Moore continues with Jusko. Across for Zadakis. Zadakis just slowly banks it up as he continues. Zadakis from distance. Simeon with a hold. Stone will hold with Williams behind. Cole Dubois stepping in as he's got Williams in tight. Art steps in, and it's a strip by Moore. He gets across the man. Now it's a 3-on-1. Brandon Moore, 3-on-1. Miami. Moore holds, shoots, scores! Brandon Moore, number 2. We're tied. 4-4 halfway through the second.
That was absolutely disgusting there by Brendan Moore. Goodness. He started this year on the first line for the Canes and already having
It is a strip
first line
by Moore.
production as there was
a man,
stretch
3-on-1
opportunity.
Moore,
Moore had 2 options to pass, decided to pull on the brakes, beat 2 Florida Southern defenders, and put it in the back of the net.
Number 2.
Tied game here with 10:09 left to go.
The first period, it was 3 goals, Mocs, 1 goal, Canes. Second period, 3 goals, Miami, 1 goal, Florida Southern. Tied at 4, 10:09 in the second.
Miami completely flipping the switch. Tied game now. Uh-oh.
Marshall keeps play as Rice holds on far side. He's got Wall. Marshall winds up, scores.
Jeez.
Quick succession works again. Will Marshall
my
joins
goodness.
the party, and only seconds after Moore ties the game, Marshall pulls the Mocs back in far side. He's got
when
Wall.
you say
Marshall
these guys
winds up,
can
scores.
jeez, at the next
Quick
level,
succession works
you're not
again.
lying at all.
Will
These
Marshall
this
joins
tandem
the party,
of Marshall and Wall
only
can
seconds
really just
after
fly
Moore ties
as
the game.
Miami goes down, back down 1 goal, 5-4. This has been a high-scoring affair, Ryan.
10 goals 9 goals so far, 20 in the 2 games earlier this season. There's also been some games between Florida Southern and Miami last year that have accumulated numbers as high as 11, 10, 6, and 4 were some of the goal totals between these two last season and this year. Marshall skates in, took a deflection. McGuire might have saved a potential 2-goal deficit for Miami. Elian Estulin cuts across. Fensterstock, he's got a free release. Couldn't corral as he couldn't get the breakaway. But he has position on the wall. Zdeikis has to go back. Michael Wall. Zdeikis, nice stick in front so Estulin can collect at center. Fensterstock for Zdeikis. Couldn't corral, stuck in the skate as the flub by Burkhart has to let it go on the second try. Ferry, Fensterstock. Wanted Ferry back, but it was cut off by Cabral. You got a man tumbling at the blue line as Estulin supporting, and you've got Cabral with Peterlin as Cabral let that one fire. A collision into the wall, no arms up. Bodies continue to hit the deck as Fensterstock couldn't get it. It's Volpe. A chance for Cole Dubois to cut in. He's got Estulin, tries to leave it behind, but Estulin draped all over Dubois. Estulin, Fensterstock, he's got Grady Abbin alongside. Fensterstock, backhands, Abbin in front, just missed the net. Fensterstock, winded Abbin again, but Abbin just a swing and a miss. Twice at that last sequence. We're 12 deep in the second. 5-4, Florida Southern leads Miami. This has turned into a 1-goal game. This is something that Miami's been very comfortable in. They've been in 7 1-goal games so far this year, 8 if you include today, but that's only after the final result. We still got 7.5 in the middle frame. Stone has to go back, or else Florida Southern would have been docked for icing. Peterlin and Kagan with Fromer along the near wall. Wall comes off of the bench.
Watch the point.
You've got Marshall, lets it go, took a touch, and that goes to the corner. Peterlin tried to let it go as Kagan continues the cycle. Wall in tight, looks for options. Wall will pivot instead. Marshall, chopped from behind by Callahan. Marshall across, Fromer. Wall and Abbin, who gets there first? Wall pokes it along for Peterlin.
Miami's got to get this out of the zone.
Wall. On the wall. Marshall snaps his stick on the release. Across it goes. Abbin. He's got Callahan. As Abbin comes back. Marshall still stickless. Gives Abbin a nice bump though, however. And Mensimer can't get the chop down. Hunter Rice. He's all alone. Rice. Nice stick swipe there from Max Hoffman to prevent Rice from getting a fourth. Jake Turlick. Try on. 6 1/4 in the second. Turlick just got hammers. There's a scramble in front of the net. Loose puck, no in possession. Just go across. Callahan, a strikeout there with 6 minutes to go in the second. Attempt to clear. Mensimer lets it go, and Simeone swallows once more. And Simeone just following up on what he's done so well, but tightly contested 1-goal game. The second.
Miami doing great job defending.
Attempt to clear.
Mensimer doing a great job in the defensive zone. There's a great shot there by Max Mensimer from the point. The senior,
just
being honored
up
as senior captain, I should say.
But
he's had a tremendous impact on this program and having a tremendous impact on this game as well.
Zdeikis on the blue for Moore. Moore has 2. Couldn't get the swipe in for the third as Zdeikis retreats. Berg and Burkhart collide before Berg could get on it. Moore steps in. Moore, 1 Kane, 2 Mox. Now it's 2-2 in the corner. Jusko joins the party. Moore on the free puck. Across, Stone fires too high. Awkward bounce off the stanchion, so it lands right for Braxton Volpe. Stone steps in with Volpe into the corner. No one able to get it free. Moore does. Can't get the shot through. It's still loose. No one able to get it cleanly. Eventually, it's out of the zone. Stone, third-year senior, continuing to really be one of the main catalysts of this offense, that do-it-all guy. He especially had a great time in that little road trip in New York towards the end of January, but he goes off to the bench. Jusko, just out of reach. Berg supports Jusko. As Brandon Moore still on the ice. He's got 2 goals already. He drops it off. Jusko in tight, wanted Berg. They can't touch up. The long pass attempted. Rice taken down by Kashirkani. And no penalty call. As Simeon will make his way back into his net. Everyone thought that was a penalty, except for the official. Simeon even was halfway onto the trek back to the bench. Jarrett Fensterstock. He tries to split the defenders. Drop off. Ferry alone. Saved by Simeon. In front for Estelin. No one able to get it free as Ferry works it for Fensterstock. Tangled up on the release. Marshall caught him from behind. Burkhart pokes it up for Marshall. Now it's a 3-on-1 for the Mocs. Marshall, Rice. Marshall tipped wide. Net is loose. That should be a whistle. The net is loose, but they still go on. And eventually the referees catch the loose net. 3:39 in the second. Florida Southern still with the 1-goal
Marshall,
advantage. Rice.
We see here on
Marshall,
the man advantage, you have
wide.
the 3
Net
guys
is loose.
behind the defense.
That should be a
You
whistle. The net is
absolutely
loose, but
not
they still
want
go
behind
on.
you, Rice,
And
Marshall,
eventually
and
the referees
Wall
catch the loose net.
with a 3-on-1.
3:39 in the
Miami
second.
very lucky that did not end up in the back of the net.
You mentioned in the open, Connor, how Colton Wyden was really that third guy between Wall and Marshall, but Hunter Rice has really been able to pick up the slack with Wyden taking to the mound as that one's sent in front, and Hoffman is there again with Rice in front.
Be careful.
We've seen many of these net front scrambles produce a lot of things, especially between these two squads, but considering what we've seen in the first 37 minutes of this game, surprised that one ended amicably.
Yeah, this has definitely been one of the more entertaining games we've gotten to call, Ryan, and I expect the intensity to keep picking up into this third period, especially with the playoff implications and the fact that it's senior night here at Miami. So Miami trying to feed off any momentum they can get. They've really stepped up here in the second period, but the Mocs have been there to kind of answer.
Face off to Hoffman's left, won by Turlick. Lynn currently holds the final playoff slot. They're tied with the Tampa Spartans, but only because no one that game has scored yet. Miami and Florida Southern both fighting for their playoff lives, as well as Miami is the first team out. Florida Southern going into today 2 points out, but they need plenty of help in order to get in through the Mocs. Miami just has to take care of business and hope that Lynn drops any of their games versus Tampa, as they have an opportunity to potentially tie things up with 3 minutes remaining as the faceoff goes towards Simeon. Draw taken by the Canes. Turlick scores! Off the draw, on the board. Jake Turlick with his 8th of the season. 5-5, we're tied again.
Oh my goodness. Miami with a little bit of luck with the spinorama there. Right off the draw. Great win back.
Draw taken by the
Kind
Canes.
of confusion, and then
Turlick
all of a
scores!
sudden Turlick turns around and he finds the puck and just snipes it top shelf. The Canes tied back up.
What an excellent 2025 it's been for Jake Turlick. 5 goals and 7 points in 7 games for the sophomore from Stratford, Connecticut. He gets on the board. We're level at 5, just under 3 in the second. Now it's Sam Stone trying to cut in. Can't get past Williams, as that one will be pitched towards the wall. Moore has to pivot as he had Thomas all over him. Berg around, Jusko. Zadakis cut off, but recovered. Zadakis across, Moore just higher than that. He had Simeon dead to rights, but couldn't bury the hat trick. Jusko fights along the corner once more. Tryon and Arts into the corner. 2 1/4 in the second period of play. Peterlin with Stone into the corner as Williams loses his edge. Jusko lets it go and held on by Simeon. And Simeon's record precedes him. 13-5-2 in his 20 starts as a high school senior. Continues momentum as a freshman in College Hockey South with 2:05 in the second. We're even at 5. This all comes after a 3-1 Florida Southern lead at the first period. And in the second, combined 6 goals, 2 for the Mocs, 4 for the Canes. Canes take the offensive zone draw to Simeon's left, and they'll win it as it's McGuire. Estulin wanted to go back for McGuire, but it's stolen away as Will Marshall turns on the Jets. Cut off by McGuire. Estulin to support. Estulin banks it. Ferry. He's got Fensterstock at center. Ferry, Fensterstock, saved by Simeon. Minute and a half, Estulin in front, off the board, in! They score! The first lead of the game! Elian Estulin, it's 6-5! Ferry. He's got what a beautiful play here as Ferry just with the patience. Ferry, these 3 have been cooking all game long. Complete the line sweep in front of the board in. They score! The first lead of the danger no matter who you are, especially if you're the leading goal scorer on the University of Miami. 15 goals in the season for Elian Estulin, and they take their first lead of the game. 6-5, minute and a half in the second. Popped up in the air at center as Stone lost his stick, but Abbin is there to swipe it down as Turlick goes in for the forecheck. It's stuck underneath Turlick. We're in the final minute of play. Abbin and Turlick can't get it free. Eventually, it's Ethan Dubois. Ethan and Cole, a couple of twins for the Florida Southern Mocs, up on the ice together with Stone. And Miami was offside, but with 52 remaining, this game has turned. And considering how things started off with a 3-0 lead for the Mocs, only 6 minutes in to come back under a minute to go in the second period, up by 1. This is the momentum swing that Tom Amello looks for, especially because these 2 teams have played each other so much in the last 2 seasons. They played each other 4 times last season. This is their 3rd meeting this year. And when you meet any team 7 times in 2 seasons, surprises are out the window. These 2 know each other like the back of their hands by this point. As that's one chipped up in front. Berg in front, loose. Couldn't get the shot through with Jusko. Scramble in front. Simeon with a block out. Stone tries to keep it in, but Marshall with a collection as it's back towards center. Max Mensimer. Jusko can't get the touch, so Tryon will go upward. 20 seconds to go. Moore slaps it out. Goes back towards center. It is Hunter Rice. Rice taken down. This will be a Miami penalty as Moore and Rice got tangled up. So this will be the first power play opportunity for Florida Southern as it is a tripping call against Brandon Moore as the sophomore from West Virginia goes into the box for 2 minutes up against Hunter Rice, who has been pretty much without a doubt been the most dangerous player on the ice in red and blue. Michael Wall could throw in the mix as well with 5 points on the game. But Hunter Rice just as dangerous with 4 points of his own, including a hat trick. Wall a little quick on the draw, so he'll have to come out with Marshall on the face-off. Taken away by the Canes, held on. Marshall from distance on the roof of the net, and Hoffman will just take a quick lean there with 7.6 in the second period of play. We've seen that a weird number of times on that left net of Kendall Ice Arena, where it'll pop up on the glass and just miraculously sit on the roof. Good for Hoffman that nothing happened there as the Mocs were encroaching. Wall releases, scores! On the power play, Michael Wall, goal number 2, point number 6, and the Mocs have retied this game at 6-all with 5.1 to go. Michael Wall, goal number 2, point number 6, and the Mocs have nothing you can really do about it. Just a quick release of Wall, another distance try, and this will be smothered, and this will be a very interesting third period of play as we are tied at 6 aside. After a 3-1 first, 6-all in the second. And a very interesting third for playoff positioning. As both the Mocs and the Canes, desperate for points and desperate for the final spot in the CHS Division II playoffs, just down the turnpike in Coral Springs at the Ice Den. Second period intermission when we return. But first off, we want to thank our partners over at Wells Fargo Advisors. For all your financial needs, go to Wells Fargo Advisors. And continue to support your Miami Hurricanes all season long. You can support everything the Miami Hurricanes do on Venmo, or even the little ways too if you can. Follow the University of Miami hockey team across all social media platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will continue seeing how this Hurricanes team will progress. After 1, it was 3-1. After 2, it's 6-all. More from Kendall Ice Arena when we come back.
I'm Connor Stein, live here during the second intermission, live with Riker Ferry. Now, Riker, it's been an absolute crazy game, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about your Miami career. Obviously, it's senior night. Walk me through a little bit about how this Miami program has kind of built up about the couple of years since you guys won the national championship.
Yeah, so when I came 3 years ago as a sophomore, we didn't really have much of a program. It was more just kind of guys who like to play hockey and like to get some exercise 3 times a week. And we probably had 9 or 10 people show up on a good day to a weekend. We lost. We went 1-17, so it was not a very fun season, but it's a great group of guys, and we all just enjoy hanging out with each other. And yeah, now we've kind of turned it around. Last year definitely helped. Got some more new guys that came in, and I think it's just everyone's kind of bought in, and it's more serious now. So
Yeah, that's great to hear. And what's kind of your message going to the third period, kind of to bring it back into the game?
We know it's a big one. Obviously, kind of playoffs are on the line for us. And senior night, everyone just wants to, get out of here with a win and celebrate after. And I think we turned it around. We had a slow first period, but that period was a lot better other than the last 15 seconds. So we know what we need to do. Just keep playing hard and get the pucks in deep and hopefully find a way to get it done.
Absolutely. Well, that will conclude this intermission interview. I'm here with Riker Ferry, back with Connor Stein. We will see you for this third period of action. You will not want to miss this one.
back here for the third and final period at Kendall Ice Arena. The Miami Hurricanes and Florida Southern Mocs are tied at 6 apiece after a 3-1 period that favored the Florida Southern Mocs. Miami came out the bench firing in period number 2, getting 5 goals to the Mocs' 3, and that's where we stand at 6s across. However, it could have easily been a 1-goal Miami lead had Michael Wall not scored on the power play with 5 seconds remaining in the second period of play, which is how we are here at 6s aside. Ryan Lee, Connor Stein, the rest of our University of Miami Hockey Network crew with you the whole way through. We appreciate you being here with us on a Friday night. And, you know, we had a quick chat, Connor, right at the intermission break about how things have really transpired throughout the first 2 periods of play. And if the first 40 minutes are any indication of what can come for the next 4 periods of play, it's going to be a very exciting finish, not just today, but with the playoff implications and how tomorrow could go as well.
Yeah, well, this has been one of those games where it's all offense, no defense. So the team that wins this game and wins the third period is going to be the better defensive team this period that's able to stop the star scores and the star line of both sides. So can Miami come up with a better defensive period than Florida Southern? That's what I think the difference maker will be this period.
So a couple of extracurriculars after the whistle. Brad Peterlin will serve a 10-minute misconduct, but we're still at 5 aside as Wall tried to slide through, but could not contain the puck as it slides back. Volpe, the lone man, back. So Michael Wall with that goal, 5 seconds remaining in the second period. That is his second goal of the game, his 6th point tonight, and that launches him from 37 going into today to 43 points with a 6-point outing in 2 periods thus far. Riker Ferry's got a lane on the near side. He cuts across. Ferry tries to weave through, but Simeon was able to hang tight with Estulin in front, and the attempt by Fensterstock was stopped by Simeon. Riker Ferry's got a lane on the near side. He cuts across.
Riker Ferry making great moves, trying to dig up the defenseman of the Mocs. Tries to get into Estulin in front. Then
and
with
the
the second-ditch effort there
was stopped by Simeon.
From, I believe that was Fensterstock. Miami threatening 1 minute in.
So Florida Southern will be shorthanded, a man on the bench, because Peterlin will serve a 10-minute misconduct. However, it's still 5-on-5 as Berg tries to slip past a couple of red jerseys as McGuire pokes it around. Berg able to collide with his man to free up, but only Volpe in front, loose as it's Simeone. You got a touch. Behind Simeone's net, Jusko got an assist in that second period. That flies over McGuire's stick, and Hoffman's got to work with Mensimer to create some breathing room.
Heads up.
A little stick on stick with Williams, Caden Williams, coming in hot. The sophomore from Hilton's Head, South Carolina, was in that forecheck. And for Florida Southern, they're bringing out the big guns once more with Rice, Wall, and Marshall. They have accounted for all 6 goals, this trio of Marshall, Wall, and Rice. Rice with a hat trick, all done in the early portion of the second period. Callahan, Rice chops away at him, and Callahan gets past one. Abbin alongside. Turlick got tangled up as Tryon didn't let him get a swing on. Wall. He's got Fromer. He'll release it. Fromer over the net. Tries to go for Rice. Marshall wants Fromer on the deflection, but they're tangled up as Miami eventually get it out, but will it be enough for icing as Simeone lets it free? Callahan, the first touch, no icing. Abbin there as well. Here goes Matt Fromer. Sends it up for Wall. Turlick just trying to slow him down as Wall gives it a go, but Hoffman is up to the task.
Something that Miami's not done at defense whatsoever this whole game is eliminating areas to shoot from Wall. He's kind of just getting around the defender every single time and getting a shot lane. They've got to eliminate those shot lanes for every single Florida Moccasin if they want to win this game.
Especially with 3 seasons in American juniors in the NAHL with the Northeastern Generals and the Madison Capitals coming straight out of high school, as the 22-year-old sophomore continues to make things work with Elian Estulin on the near side. Estulin goes across as Fensterstock poked it wide. Burkhart able to clear, but Miami continues possession. Michelini. Rice gets it away from the zone, but not away from Riker Ferry, as Fensterstock loops it around on the dump-in. Dump-in chase, Riker Ferry, Michael Wall. Wall pokes it up with Rice as Michelini took him down, and now it's a 3-on-1 coming for the Mocs. Burkhart fires, scores! Jonathan Burkhart with his 2nd goal of the season, and that puts him at 3 points in the last 4 games. And Florida Southern have reclaimed the lead, 7-6, 3.5 in.
Just what I was talking about at the start of this period.
Wall pokes it up.
Just an absolute defensive malfunction here for the Canes. Why are there 4 white jerseys below the blue line, and that just leads to a 3-on-1, and all of a sudden, Florida Southern takes a 1-goal lead. So Miami just really got to figure it out on defense here. 7 goals allowed is just not acceptable.
So Hunter Rice will get a 2nd assist. That puts him at a 5-point game so far. He had 6 points all season entering the day. And Jonathan Burkhart continues to light the lamp for Florida Southern. Try on the first one on the puck as it's dumped off of Fromer. Matt Fromer crosses center as he wanted to leave it for Vecchione. Tryon slaps it in deep for Stone as Miami and Florida Southern continue to go back and forth. 1 playoff spot in the Division II playoffs in Coral Springs later in the month. Florida Southern, Miami, UCF, and Lynn all fighting for 1 playoff position. Miami have now gone from a 6-6 draw to a 7-6 deficit. University of Tampa is helping out Miami with their lead on Lynn 2-1 right now. Hoffman will smother after the flub by the Miami defenseman.
You mentioned that Tampa game, but it really doesn't even matter if Miami can't even take care of business in their own end, and Florida Southern can really flip the switch here and get 14 points if they win both these games and all of a sudden be in the playoffs. But Miami got to take care of business.
Face off to Hoffman's left. Wall with Turlick as Metzemer claps it around. Marshall circles, looks for options. Up top, Volpe. Marshall. 5 minutes into the 3rd as he tries to get around Avid. Marshall denied by Hoffman, but it's still alive for the Mocs. Burkhart just scored the go-ahead to make it 7-6. In tight, Hoffman with a save. Volpe holds on again for Florida Southern. That time it was Rice.
Doing a whole lot of puck watching. Need to be aggressive on the puck.
Marshall, Turlick all over. Wall cut off by Mensimer. Turlick supports.
Oh, no.
Marshall winds up, holds on. Can't let it go with Mensimer the roadblock. Volpe again at the point. Past Marshall, Wall behind. Marshall again, spinorama, backhand. Just barricades in front, all in white and green. As Rice takes his man down and Miami gets it out. And finally, they can get some fresh legs out. Wall. Stymied by Moore. And with 14 minutes left to go in regulation, Miami desperate to keep their season alive. But Wall, disruptor in front with Hoffman's save off with a shot from Cole Dubois. Him and his twin brother Ethan have been really able to produce for Gilles Richard's side ever since they came in, the twin freshmen, as it allows Arts to come in deep.
Gotta watch the trail.
In front, and absolutely getting level was Dubois on the contact from Stone. Jusko, he's got some space. How does he work? Jusko evades one, can't evade another. Stone hangs on, swing and a miss, back to center. Hunter Rice leaves it all the way back for Matt Fromer. Florida Southern, despite having the 5th fewest goals on the season, have put up 7 of their own. But these are also two sides who have struggled to keep the puck out of their respective nets. Florida Southern, 3rd most goals allowed, Miami 4th most goals allowed, and it's pretty much panned out for two teams who have struggled defensively, respectively. It is pretty much playing out the way you'd expect, knowing that.
Yeah, Miami just really sloppy on the defensive end. They've really just not done a great job. They were very flat-footed on that last defensive effort, but at the end of the same time, they were all tired, so they got to be better with changes as well.
Ferry with the backhand, stopped in front. Fensterstock with a follow, but stick on stick brings that elevation over the glass.
Miami just really missing all that momentum that they had in the entire second period. Since this period started, they just looked very flat-footed. And Florida Southern, was just able to kind of skate circles around them. And that's why Florida Southern was able to take an early lead.
Astulin for Ferry, backhander scores! On senior night, Ferry strikes twice. We're tied again at 7. 14 for Ferry, 7 all.
We talked to Ferry at the intermission. He's one of those guys that's been with the program for 4 years.
Backhander
and he gets
scores!
a swifty-looking backhand to beat Simeone. And my, oh my, 7-7. This is a football score here, Ryan.
A 2023-2024 AAU All-Star. Did not play either of the 2 games versus Florida Southern back in November. He is here today and has made his presence felt with a pair. But now, can they get back the lead? Miami with Volpe at center. Callahan trying to use the speed and the dump in by the Mocs. An opportunity for Turlick. He pitches it up, trying to fight for the corner are Marshall and Turlick. However, Turlick has assistance coming in the form of Volpe. And Volpe streaks in, tries to dangle, wants to attempt the in-tight shot, but cannot do so as it's banked out. Alain Esselin credited with an assist on that Marshall goal, so that puts Alain Esselin at 4 points as that long release may have taken a touch off of Wall, but nonetheless does not go in. Wall behind the net for Marshall. The attempt is swallowed up by Max Hoffman, who, despite some struggles of the man in front, he's held on.
Marshall's just always able to find those shooting lanes that always seem to work on Hoffman, and that's the reason why the Moccasins were able to put 7 on the board. They were able to just find the right places in the Hurricanes defense, and Miami can't solve it.
Goals in all but 1 game so far this season, including 13 multi-point games if you count today. A chance for Adam Berg to sprint up ahead after a couple of sticks go flying and a couple of complaints to the officials for potential slashing.
Oh, gosh.
As a little bit of extracurriculars, Rice took a shot at Berg at the end of that, and a lot of complaints, rightfully so, because Florida Southern were chopping out UM sticks. Moore lost his stick in the first place because of a UM chop, and now Moore is the one going into the box.
I think they're going to get him for a hold here. That's what it looks like. It was that arm that kind of went around the shoulder there in the corner, and then that's just something you can't do regardless if you have a stick or not, and that's going to get called. Now, could you have called the slash as well? Obviously, but they're not going to get every call, and obviously this one's not going to benefit the Canes here, so now they have to kill off this penalty. 2 minutes for Brendan Moore.
Already a power play goal for Florida Southern from Michael Wall off of the draw. That was with 5 seconds remaining in the second period. Marshall works the point with Wall in the corner.
Got to get 6 in the lanes here.
Marshall, Wall, Zedeckis in front, and Hoffman was able to read it.
Something I like there is they gave Hoffman enough time to see the puck. It was able to clear out. There wasn't any bodies in front, so he was able to just kind of stick into place, and then he was able to find that puck.
11 minutes in a 7-all game. Another 100 seconds on the power play for the Mocs with Moore in the box for a hold. 2-on-2 in the corner. Estelin can't get it out, but it's Michael Wall with Marshall on the near side. Swing it around for, that is Volpe in tight. Wall with a try, but it took a couple deflections up and over. Wall, one-timer, swing and a miss. That's a strikeout for Wall. And now Stone gets it out. A quick sub for Miami. Wall goes fast, just hangs out at the blue line to enter. Volpe.
They got 2 up high, Miami.
Volpe and Rice back and forth. Reposition, but an attempt goes high as McGuire is tangled up, and that eventually goes deflection up and out. 51 for Moore in the box. 10 1/4 in the game, 7 aside.
I think my point still stands about the defense. This penalty kill really determines, I think, how the rest of this game will go. If Miami's able to kill this off, they can feed off that momentum that they get from this penalty kill. But if Florida Southern scores, all of a sudden you're looking at Miami having to climb back in after going down a goal. So you got to be careful as you see Wall at the top of your screen, or in the center of your screen, conferring with Marshall. Are they going to try to make a play happen, and he loses the draw?
Marshall up top, Metzimer with a dive, in tight, no one able to get the release. As a couple of diving Miami Hurricanes thwarted the attempts by the Mocs. As the check and the clear, Callahan gets it done.
Excellent defensive play there by McGuire to get Marshall off that puck, and the Canes now able to kill off this penalty.
Callahan with a strip, but Fromer still holds on. Metzimer works him. The 93s continue to scrap. It's been Turlick and Wall pretty much all game long. Heavy hit, Turlick goes down, no arms up by the officials. Wall in tight, wants to feed across, back up top Volpe. He's got Rice. Rice, Wall, up top Volpe. Diving block, brilliantly done by Turlick and cleared, and a chance. Turlick coming out of the box is Moore. A 2-on-1 for the Canes. Turlick to Moore, can't connect. Callahan wanted Moore again. They're stuck in front of the net. Rice. Metzimer met him, but it's Marshall behind. Burkhart flips it upwards at Akis alone. 9 minutes to go in a tie game. Fresh legs for Miami. Abbin and Estelin alongside Zedeckis. Wide angle. Simeone punches it out. Arts. Wayne Arts, the junior Dutchman, tries to slide across. Diving Canes thwarts the opportunity, and Arts just has to flutter that one behind Hoffman's net. Cabral, fresh sub on. As it's sent in deep, awkward bank off the boards. Stone slides through with Miami getting fresh legs, just sends that towards net. No one able to get the deflection as Ferry was streaking off of the bench. Ferry and Tryon. Stone helps out behind the net, and no one able to get it free. Stuck in legs. No one collects cleanly.
Jeez.
Fencer stock for a bit. Stone in there. Kashikani hanging back. Arts in the mix. Alain Estulin at top. Sam Stone on the wing. Estulin. Stone. Around for Fensterstock. Top units for Miami. As it's Kashikani. Fensterstock. Stone off for a sub on. Kashikani from distance. Simeone reads it through. Ferry holds on as he tries to hang on. And Miami can't do so, but this might be an icing against Florida Southern. And it will be with 7:20 in the third.
I really like that offensive cycle there from the Hurricanes. They were able to really maneuver the puck well, find the right angles they wanted to shoot. They got a few good quality shots from the point, but Simeon was able to stand tall on his net. 7:20 though, hey, a lot of things are going to happen in this next 7:20. I'll tell you.
Simeone looking for his first win since the 15th of November when these exact Miami Hurricanes took a trip to Lakeland, where that was won by Florida Southern by a score of 4-3. Kashikani from deep took a touch. Michelini. Moore behind the net, assisted by Fromer. Kashikani swats it down, but Moore took a touch and it was
offside?
It was
Celtic
offside,
goal?
just a touch. So they're saying that Moore was still inside the zone when he touched the puck going outside. The body was inside, but the puck was outside. That's what they're
Interesting
whistling it
call.
down for.
Interesting call.
As Turlik swipes that one from Wall. Distance try loose. Simeone will hold on. And Abbott and Fromer go face to face, and that might be a very solid scenario for UM because they've been doing well on the dot today with an offensive zone draw.
Yeah, they've gotten great offensive opportunities. They're able to feed the point well, hence the 7 goals on the board. But it all started with this first line of Riker, Ferry, Elon Estulin, and also Turlik as well. Well, Turlik also on the line here, but Miami just needs more contributing from the rest of their team as well. This is the line to do it, though.
Callahan with Abbott and Turlik, 3 physical guys, 3 fast guys who not only know how to get turnovers, get breakaways, but throw the shoulder in as well as Mensimer works his way along the wing. Mensimer, Wall in his face. Poke from behind, so Marshall will start something. Gets behind Abbott. Marshall with Mensimer in front. Hoffman kicks it out with 6.5.
See, that's the problem with overcommitting on offense as a defenseman. It leads to opportunities like that for Marshall.
But it's a chance to reverse for Kyle McGuire. Circles it around. Wanted the feed. Turlik was not aware. Abbott at the point. Just barely gets behind Callahan, but Turlik holds on. This line has produced many point scorers today so far with Abbott, Turlik, and Callahan. They've all made their contributions as Abbott tries to get that one free but can't as Volpe hangs on. He's got Marshall and Rice alongside. Drops it. Marshall lost it. And Hoffman with the interruption right before it got to Will Marshall. Miami's got to be careful. They're substituting, so they will just throw that one in.
Watch the give and go. Oh, great stick there by Zadakis.
To prevent Wool from going any further as 5.5 minutes approach in the third. Rice slaps it in deep. Only one road win for Florida Southern. That came in the season opener that was in Embry-Riddle, the lone road win for Florida Southern. Miami have not won at home since the 11th of January against Lynn. Estulin drops off. Fensterstock kicked out by Simeone. Fensterstock pinched. Tryon reaches. Ferry wanted Estulin in front. But now a chance to reverse is Rice. Rice cut off by Mensimer. Another try. Mensimer in the way again as we cross the 5-minute mark of the third. Tryon back. And the Mocs will change. McGuire fresh off the bench. Mensimer. And it's Volpe and Estulin, the lone two in the Florida Southern
Watch-
end.
They've got Williams dragging on the side. They got lucky they couldn't find that pass.
A bouncer goes for Volpe, leaves it. Burkhart from distance. Hoffman, he'll cover, but continue movement. Mensimer and Ferry. Across goes Berg, fresh off the bench. Cut off, however, by Caden Williams as he's being slowed down by Riker Ferry. Adam Berg goes into the play. A try from a wide angle, and Simeone had to juggle that one before it traps.
Let's see if we caught this on the replay here. You
Adam
see
Berg
the Canes coming in with a ton of
goes
speed,
into
and then
the
the
play.
rebound
A
that kind
try
of went off
from a wide
the
angle,
blocker.
and Simeone
Simeone.
had to juggle that one.
Ooh, Florida
before
Southern
it
got a little
traps.
lucky there. Let's see if we caught. Just under 4 to go.
Berg stays on. He's got Jusko and Moore. Jusko gets it for Berg. Jusko, Moore, couldn't get the handle.
Ooh.
Now they're crossing wires, are Jusko and Berg. As Jusko had his arm held back, Fromer tries to cycle it. Berg steps in. It's Rice and Fromer. Berg, Jusko steps in. Wait for Berg to finally escape. Wants it for Jusko, but couldn't get the swing on, and Marshall accelerating, trying to get around Kashikani. Wraparound try, can't get the berry. Rice in front. Rice with a slapper. Kashikani with a block. Rice back. Burkhart's out. 7-0 with 3 minutes to go in the third. Rice, he's in. Across for Wall. Snagged by Hoffman.
Miami was caught on
Burkhart's
a
out.
change there as the Mocs came back in on the blue line.
7-0
You
with
see
3 minutes
as
to
all
go
the
in
Hurricanes
the
go to the
third.
bench, and
Rice, he's in.
Rice and
Across
Wall
the
able to get a
wall.
quality
Snagged
opportunity, but
by
an even
Hoffman.
better glove save there by Hoffman. 3 minutes flat to go. 7-7.
You know, in boxing, the main card is usually second, but I think this main card has somehow turned into the undercard with D3 coming later today. A bobble by Marshall, a chance for Callahan. Callahan continues to move the legs. Cycles around, Turlick is with him. Turlick tries to escape Marshall, cannot do so with Burkhart. Marshall has been a pseudo defenseman at times, just staying back, trying to set things up from behind as Stone prevents Florida Southern from continuing into the corner, but it's stuck in front of the Miami bench. Eventually it's out. Stone just clears the blue line, that's enough. Rice with Sudeikis in front. Wall behind, wraparound try. Hoffman's there, Burkhart, Volpe. Missed the net, out of play, 2-10, sevens across. With Sudeikis
Great
in
cycle here
front.
by the Mocs, and
Wall
the stick
behind,
was
wraparound
just
try.
in
Hoffman's
the
there,
way of
Burkhart.
Volpe.
Volpe
Had time and space
missed the
but
net,
the great
out
stick
of
there by
play,
Sudeikis
2-10, sevens
to
across.
knock it out of play. That's what I'm talking about, putting sticks in the shot lanes. Getting those kind of opportunities eliminated is the reason why Miami has made this one tied.
And
As-
that's also part of the reason that continued pressure defensively, especially in this third period, is part of the reason why Keel Richard wants to call a timeout.
Yeah, both these teams, I'm sure Coach Tom Hamelo would also like to take a timeout and breather as well, as 2:10 left to go in period number 3. Let's pan back over to the two teams.
These two will play again tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. Florida Southern has one game left after this head-to-head series. That is going to be next Saturday against Mass Maritime after their 2 games versus the University of Miami. And with Miami's only their 3rd game at home in this 2025 portion of the season, and considering where they've been, they're essentially a half a game outside of a playoff spot, considering how they were 11th in the CHS D2 standings at the New Year's break. What a turnaround they've had, the Hurricanes coming out of the holiday break. But can they continue that momentum onward? Sevens across the board in the third period. 2:10 to go. Wall with Astulin. One by Wall. Marshall the release. Stopped in front by his own man is Fromer. A pitch up, Ferry, just a little too much on that though, however. In front, Estulin couldn't get the rebound after Simeone took a touch. Now Wall, he's all alone, but McGuire catching up. Wall tried to give it a go, but McGuire was all over. Mensimer gets past one, slides it across. Own goal!
Oh
and it's
my
in!
gosh!
An own
What a
goal is in!
goal!
Max Mensimer tried to go for
Oh
Fenster's
my!
stop, and it goes off of Volpe and in. The own goal by Mensimer gives Miami the lead. 1:42 in the game. An own goal to take the lead with playoff spots on the line.
Goodness
Gets
gracious.
past one, slides it across.
Max
Own
Mensimer,
goal!
we just
Oh
got the
my
end half
gosh!
of that
An
goal,
own
unfortunately, on
goal
the
in!
replay, but
Max
you can see the
Mensimer
celly.
tried to go
But
for
oh
Fenster's
my!
stop,
What a
and it
great
goes
move
off of
by Max
Volpe and
Mensimer to
in.
get around the
The own
defender,
goal
and then
by
a little
Mensimer.
bit of friendly fire there by the Mocs. Couldn't quite see which Mock it was, but it knocked it in the back of the net. 8-7 your score. Now Miami, they're feeling the electricity, right? You gotta stay locked in.
Will they stay charged up, or will the switch go off? Max Mensimer on senior day, that's his first goal of the season.
Net is empty, net is empty.
Sixth attacker for Florida Southern. Around it goes, Wall to Marshall. Minute and a half remains. Wall behind the net. Wall, Tryon, the extra man in front of Hoffman. Volpe across, Burkhart lets it go, off of a defender. Stone gets it back to the point.
Nice!
Pitched up, Estulin couldn't get free. But Fensterstock, back at his own blue line, tried to give it a go at the empty net off of Burkhart into his own bench. 1:05 in the third. 8-2 for Miami. Max Mensimer on senior day with an own goal, which is good enough for his first goal.
Looks like they're gonna put Simeone back in the net. Simeone, excuse me.
With a neutral zone
Neutral
face-off.
zone face-off.
I can't blame Coach Richard for thinking that way. For context, Florida Southern, they were 1 for 2 on the power play today whenever Simeone goes back to the bench. Volpe, final minute of play in regulation.
This has got to be your best minute of defense ever.
Rice lets it go. He misses the net. Marshall on the far side. Lets it go. Hoffman denies. Cleared. Down. Is it enough? Just wide. Icing against Miami. 42.9 in the third. Miami still on top by 1.
I just want to give a shout out real quick to all the Hurricane faithful here. This is not something we typically see here at Kendall Ice Arena, but they're making a ton of noise, and they really want this win bad.
Some of the travel these families have to go through. Max Mensimer from Colorado, Riker Ferry from Massachusetts, Sam Stone from Massachusetts as well, and Fensterstock from New York. Face-off won by the Florida Southern Mocs. They wrap it around in tight. The feed disrupted by Stone. Down, diving, Wall, ties
my
it,
gosh.
hat trick, they score. Michael Wall with a hat trick. That's enough to tie this game. 32.6 in the game. We're tied at 8.
I mean,
The
who
Florida Southern
else,
Mocs.
right?
They wrap it around in tight.
There was
The
a little
feed
bit of
disrupted by
disruption right in
Stone.
front of the net.
Down, diving,
see-
Wall,
oh
ties
my
it,
gosh.
hat trick, they score.
A little bit out of the camera view, but he was able to catch Hoffman off his game, and the Canes now tied back up 8-8. 30 seconds left to go.
Who else to assist but Marshall and Rice? Now it's a chance for Callahan to charge in. Backhander stopped by Simeone, and he'll hold on with 20 seconds.
Oh, that's one of those goals you really want back, man. That's that one, and also the 6th goal by Michael Wool. Both the goals that he scored, you're like, man, with 6 seconds left to go, and then also he's just got Mr. Clutch in his jeans right now. Watch out, they got a little give and go.
Wall trying to get past McGuire. McGuire just going for the block. He gets the first one. Attempted second feed for Rice. Turlick laid out by Tryon. As Rice, can he get one more try? He bobbled, loose in front. No one gets it, and that'll be it for the third. We're going to overtime, tied at 8.
So now, good news for Miami is, at least in this game, they walk away with a point. The bad news, now you got to play a 5-minute overtime period, but now you can fight for those 2 points even more. But they're so gassed now. You already know they've just got to take a seat, kind of recalm the nerves. A lot of transpired in that last 2 minutes or so, and you got to look at each other. How bad do you really want this? This is what you ask yourself in these moments. You just got to want it more than the other team.
So Florida Southern started off with a 3-0 lead only 6 minutes into the game. Brandon Moore responded to make it 3-1 after the first period of play. Then Miami had an absolute field day in the second period. A combined 8 goals between the two squads, but Miami got 5 to even the game up at 6 after 2. And both sides have scored a pair in the third to force things at 8 aside. 3-on-3 for 5 minutes. Simeone and Hoffman will change ends. Wall, Volpe, and Marshall will come out for Florida Southern. Volpe, Marshall, and Wall, this trio for the Mocs. They have combined for 13 points between those three alone. Estulin, Fensterstock, and Zadakis. Fensterstock and Estulin both have goals.
The important thing here is you don't want to leave the odd man rush. That can really happen here in 3-on-3. It happens all the time.
Especially with Will Marshall trying to speed things up, tries to cut in, but lost control with Estulin on his back.
I don't think they'll ever get off the ice here in the 3v3 period.
Volpe tries to shimmy, but Fensterstock's all over. Goes back, Wall, holds, fires, off the post and out. Zadakis collects. After that goes off of Hoffman and the post. Sent down, is it icing? It is not. It died right before it hit the red line. Now that time it was an icing. Marshall looking for Wall. Too far out of range, even at 6'5". And this will go back towards the Florida Southern end.
Marshall wanted Wall real bad. He had the set play. I've seen that happen multiple times this game. They'll almost give and go kind of, and it just disconnected there. That leads to Miami getting an offensive opportunity. You notice Tom Amello running out there with 2 defensemen and 1 forward. Interesting combination here.
Stone and Mensimer with Ferry, but Sam Stone in reality is a hybrid player. He does a little bit of everything, to be fair. But Ferry on the draw against Marshall.
It's kind of the guy you want out there, right? Some guy that can turn around, play defense as well, do well on the back check.
First minute has been burned off. Volpe, stripped by Ferry, in tight. Ferry collected from behind. Volpe, Ferry couldn't get the shot through.
He needed to get that pass off. He needed to get a puck to another player in that situation.
Volpe banks it. Marshall escapes Mensimer.
Watch Wool behind the play now.
Stone is the man back. Ferry joins him as Volpe slowly up ice. Tries to go backdoor for Wall, but Hoffman able to snuff it with 3.5 in OT.
They're trying to get that little set play going where Wall always charges to the net. He's always charging somewhere, and you just know when you see him running full speed ahead, he's getting that puck thrown anywhere towards him. So Miami, they've got to address that, especially in this overtime period. I mean, you got just over 3:30 left to go. Dramatic end here at Kendall Ice Arena.
Florida Southern has been in OT twice, both ending in ties. Miami has been to overtime 3 times this year. Mensimer off of the Estulin draw. He's got Fensterstock alongside. Elian Estulin. A new trio out there for the Mocs as Estulin on a pivot. He tries to do it himself, and he'll just come back to center to create some room. It's Burkhart, Fromer, and Rice for the Mocs. Mensimer with Fensterstock and Estulin for Miami. Estulin across, couldn't get a pass, and it's still alive as it didn't hit the top netting. Estulin holds on. Once Mensimer in
no
front,
defense.
the deflection was backed by Burkhart as Mensimer's hammered into the boards. Comes out the other way, Rice is alone.
Watch Fromer behind the play.
That's exactly where they go. The bank try, Fromer. Too much of a head start as it's offside.
He's gonna.
And Fromer getting a talking to for that little poke in, but
Fans here didn't like it at all, and I don't really blame him. He's done that a couple times this game, and referees putting away their whistles this overtime period.
Stone is out with Turlik and Zdakis. And Stone will take the draw. Turlik tries to get around Marshall. Marshall eventually pickpockets him as Wall makes his way up the wing. However, he'll elect for Volpe instead. Volpe holds so Marshall can get involved. Wall along the blue line with 2 1/4. Across from Marshall. Marshall holds to Wall. Volpe to Wall. Marshall, and on the little scurry back to position, Hoffman actually dislodges the neck, so this will be a face-off in the Miami defensive end.
Looks like Hoffman went a little, got a little antsy when they were going coast to coast on him. He was a little worried that they were going to go circle to circle, but you know, he was able to pause the play there.
Won by the Mocs. Marshall gets around Turlik, goes across for Wall, and he misses the net. Chopped up by Turlik, a chance for Stone. Stone on a breakaway on Simeone. Stone misses the net on a wide open try. And now a chance for Volpe alone. Zdakis sprinting back, dropped off. Marshall in tight, misses the net himself. Wall keeps it in the offensive end, but Turlik tries to poke it free. Wall drives the net, dislodged by Zdakis. Wall still behind the net looking for options with 1.5 minutes. And that one just awkwardly stuck in the excess netting behind the net.
That little sequence we just saw is what makes 3v3 hockey so insane to watch. You go one end, you have a one-on-one opportunity, and then all of a sudden the guy misses, and it's all the way back.
Keep an eye with this new line for Miami. It's Burkhart with Fromer and Rice, but it's Ferry with Mensimer and Callahan. Burkhart with a fumble, back on his feet. Final 1.25. Fromer winds up, couldn't hit Rice on the deflection. Burkhart back towards center.
They don't mind keeping this possession at all.
Florida Southern, they know Miami's more desperate for the extra point, and the turnover for Callahan. A chance for Mensimer in tight. Callahan to follow. Mensimer can't drive the finish. Fromer chips it back. He wants Rice. Rice, Ferry in front. Ferry with a poke check for Callahan. Now it's Callahan trying to evade Rice. Burkhart disrupts. Mensimer possession, and now a chance for Miami. Ferry holds, fires, and that's Simeone. Final 1/2 minute. Ferry, Rice pokes him out, but it's held on by Mensimer. Mensimer fires. Simeone with a block, may have gotten assistance from Burkhart. Ferry tries to evade. Final 15, lets it go. High, out of play. 12.4 in OT. And Florida Southern, I think they know that Miami's more desperate for the spare point than they are.
You're seeing some of the desperateness from Miami here in the last 30 seconds or so. But they got 2 top liners out there and a top line defenseman as well, looking to make one final push. Top line on top line. Look at where Marshall's set up here though. They want the little give and go action.
That's exactly where they go. Will Marshall with Wall streaking across center. Marshall holds on. Kicked out by Hoffman, and that'll do it, and we will end this game tied at 8. The one unfortunate nature of College Hockey South, we see a game play out the way it did, 8 aside, and it can still end in a soccer draw.
I was about to say, I cannot believe there was a combined 16 goals in this game and not one team came out with a win. That's pretty crazy. But man, Miami gets a point. That's not 2, but it's not nothing. So I mean, you kind of got it now. You got to watch Lynn, as looks like we're going to try to get the score update here. Is 4-2 your score with UTampa and Lynn.
And the other thing, too, is the USF Bulls also lead the UCF Knights right now 1-0. So right now, Miami, they'll be spending the rest of their night resting in scoreboard watching while the D3 side gets ready to come out. And it's really unfortunate if maybe it's a longer OT or maybe even a shootout the way that we saw some of those breakaways going about. But a hard-fought game for both sides, and at least for me personally, the most promising thing for the UM side of things was that they came back from a 3-0 deficit 6 minutes in. It looks like the house is falling, but they were able to put it back together.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things that Tom Amello's got to address. You got to just start every game. You can't be sluggish at the beginning of a period. That's literally the difference in this game. That if those 3 goals aren't scored, it's 8-5. But still, that's a ridiculous score. But nevertheless, Miami just got to do better defending. The shots, everything defensive-wise. You can't let your goalie get 8 goals let in on him. I mean, Max Hoffman did his best, but a majority of those goals were just, defensive malfunctions. So at the end of the day, this is just going to be one of those games where Miami's going to go, man, just a lot like the Embry-Riddle game where you're like, man, what if we got that extra point, right? So Miami really just got to move on and go into tomorrow getting those 2 points. Those are going to be really crucial.
And these 2 teams will play again tomorrow. That will be an afternoon puck drop. 2 p.m. is the time for that. And you could say that at least for the UM side, you really saw what you could expect from senior night. A lot of step up from those top guys. Riker Ferry with a pair of goals. You also had guys like Jared Fensterstock, a goal and an assist. Max Mensimer finally gets on the score sheet for the first time this period, despite being an AAU second-team All-American last year with 33 points. He just gets his first goal today, but sometimes that can happen season over season. You never know. But one of the other things you can really puff your chest about if you're Miami, at least to some extent, is that you want your top guys to be the top guys. They weren't that for the first portion of the season in that 2024 bracket. But once the calendar flipped, the top guys became the top guys again. And as we noticed with the potential of scoreboard watching, there is still a chance for UM. Assuming they take care of business tomorrow, there is at least a shot that they can make the playoffs, assuming that the Tampa Spartans and the UCF Bulls take care of the UCF Knights and Lynn.
Yeah, it's just going to be a whole lot of scoreboard watching, but not much you can do. They tried to take care of business tonight, put 8 up on the scoreboard, still couldn't get it done. But, hey, that's why there's always tomorrow. They got to face these guys tomorrow and just got to bring that same kind of intensity, and I'm sure they will.
More coverage from around senior night here at Kendall Ice Arena. There's going to be the replay of the senior night celebration from just prior to puck drop, and even interviews from some of your seniors from throughout the night. That'll do it for us here in Game 1 of 2 on our Friday doubleheader here at Kendall Ice Arena, where the Florida Southern Mocs and the Miami Hurricanes level across at 8. For our entire University of Miami Hockey Network crew, Connor Stein, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you so much. More coverage from senior night. Stick with us here on the University of Miami Hockey Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-game interview here. I'm here with Mac Metzimer, senior captain. Big senior night for him. Obviously had a goal there. And Max, just kind of bring me through some of the emotions that you're feeling tonight. Obviously, big night for you as well as the game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the family here. You know, it was a lot. It was emotional. It's kind of crazy. College already flew by, but you know what? Hockey's the best. I'm so happy I had this. So it was fun tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you look into tomorrow, right, you're playing the same exact team, obviously. What are some things that you guys can look to do kind of tomorrow in tomorrow's game to kind of get past this tie?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is just trusting each other, you know, being smart on the bench, loving each other, and, you know, just trusting each other in the D zone. So many of those goals were just we were running around too much, and, you know, if we trust each other tomorrow, which we will, we're going to pull out a W tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Max. I hope you have a great night and get well rested for tomorrow, and
Thanks
we'll see
so
you
much.
tonight. Yep.
Thanks.
That'll do it for this post-game interview. Just after this, though, the Division III team takes on the University of Florida. You will not want to miss that on the YouTube channel.
Go Canes!